Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is almost 12:30 on Thursday, March the 2nd, and just thought I'd go ahead and start with the radar here to give everybody an update on what's going on. So right now we don't have a whole lot going on, which is good. So we do have some showers and thunderstorms that are northwest of Dallas-Fort Worth. Most of them are staying, well, all of them are staying sub-severe, so that's good. Unfortunately, that's probably just the preview of things to come. We are just starting this severe weather event. And as I mentioned this morning, again, I guess I want to say first off that there's nothing to be terribly alarmed about. It's just something that you need to be aware of. Statistically speaking, most of us won't see the worst of the worst, but some of us could. So we just want to have a plan of action. If you do happen to see the worst of the worst, what you would do if you need to take shelter somewhere. So that's really what we're talking about. So let's go through the details of what we got going on here. So again, this is the current radar, and like I said, most of the activity is northwest of Dallas-Fort Worth, not severe, so that's nothing to be concerned about. Moving northeast, so that's something that we really won't have to concern ourselves about in Dallas-Fort Worth. Now, the concern we have, as I mentioned this morning, is we have a twofold concern. We have two windows of severe weather opportunity. The first window is about to start probably after 1 o'clock, maybe closer to 2. And that's going to be in areas west and probably southwest of Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm going to show you a model run here in just a second to give you an idea of what that might look like. And because that's the one that's probably the most concerning at the moment, only because those individual storms, as historically is the case, had the best potential for tornadoes and large hail. So let's see if I can pull this up. And here we go. All right, so this is the HRRR as one of the more reliable models that we have, especially for convection, and so that's what we're looking at here. So this is right now, and you can kind of see that it thinks there's going to be some storms out near Bowie, which is, verifies pretty good. So we move past closer to 1 o'clock again, not much going on. So this is 2 o'clock. And again, this is a simulated radar. This does not mean it's going to happen exactly the way it shows, but this model is pretty consistent and pretty good at convection allowing. And so that's 2 o'clock. Again, not anything too terrible. This is 3 o'clock. Now, again, doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly this way, but you do see some showers and thunderstorms out northwest of us. Those would be representative of supercells if they indeed happen that way. Don't have to worry about those, but these south of us would be something that we would, if they do form like the model says it will, which it doesn't guarantee it will, then that would definitely be moving in this direction. That's something we would have to watch. So this is 2 o'clock, like I said. So if we go back to the model here, so that's 3 o'clock. So then we go to 4 o'clock. So again, if those storms were to form, they would definitely be moving into Dallas-Fort Worth. And then 5 o'clock, you might see a little bit of a lull, but then you can sort of see about 6 o'clock. This is kind of the main event that we've been talking about, all really most of the week. So this would be the line of storms that you would see that would be moving into Dallas-Fort Worth. Now, you tend to think of tornadoes with supercell individual cells. That's definitely the more common place you see them. However, you can see what we call QCLS tornadoes, or non-technical term spin-up tornadoes, and that is something that can do just as much damage if it's right over your house and down your street. So that's the threat with this line, along with wind-driven hail and very strong winds. All right, so let's take this off here, and then we'll go to, this is 6 p.m., and then we'll go to 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. So that's between 7 and 8 p.m. for for Northeast Dallas County, where I live. That might be the go time between 7 and 8 that we see the worst of it. And then, we just kind of see what else the model wants to do at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So still got some showers around, but then, 11, 12. Now ironically, this is 1 a.m. Wants to develop some wants to develop some thunderstorms out west. I hope that's kind of an over exaggeration of the model, but it's something that hopefully that won't be the case. But again, it does show. All right, so let's go back to 2 o'clock. All right, and before I do that, hello, Deborah. 3 o'clock, Wiley, St. Paul area. What can we expect? Concern with dismissal here at Coventry. Well, Deborah, that's the $1,000,000 question. So, kind of going back to the screen that we got on right here, this is the model. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a model. This is a simulation. It's not what the radar will actually be like at 2 o'clock. And then, but Deborah, for your question, 3 o'clock, again, this is not exact science, but, we might start to get a little dicey. Now, that's not to say that these won't form here at all. It might all be northwest of us moving east. So that's another thing we have to look out for. Let's hope that's actually the case, really. Let's hope we don't have any individual cells between now and 3, 4 o'clock. Let's hope we just have to worry about the line, which, again, may not be the best of things, but it's something that I'll definitely take my chances with that as opposed to individual supercells that can cause a lot of damage. All right, so let's look at, let's dive a little deeper here. I just want to show you a couple of different things to kind of give you an idea of why we're having such a volatile atmosphere today. So this model shows CAPE, that's convective available potential energy in the atmosphere. And as you can tell, there's a lot of it. So this is 3 o'clock. So that's the first ingredient we need is we need this available energy for thunderstorms. So check mark on that one. But that's not all we need. We just don't need energy. We need other things for severe weather, and so we need wind shear. And so I'll show you 2 different wind shears here. So this is wind shear about from the ground 1,000 feet up. So you see the bigger shear out to the west in the red. So that's good. But you do see quite a bit over Dallas-Fort Worth. So again, that's something that's where the air is on the ground moving at a certain speed, and right above it, it's moving at a faster speed. We call that speed shear. So that's one ingredient that we need. And then probably the most important ingredient that we need for tornadoes, not that we want this ingredient, but is we need directional shear. And so if you go up a little bit, again, plenty of that. Again, most of it, the most intense stuff out west, but again, you see some east in East Texas. And so it's something that we have these ingredients where you have speed shear, and then you have directional shear, and then that directional shear is what ultimately takes that column and takes it from horizontal to vertical, and that's when you get storms or tornadoes. So, but again, just because we have that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So, although the chances are greater than a normal day, obviously. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show you is what we call significant tornado. I can't talk. Significant tornado parameter, or we call it STP. And so again, this is something that the models try to guess on all the ingredients in the atmosphere. Like I've always said before, severe weather setup is like baking a cake. It is, you got not only do you have to have all the ingredients at once, but you also have to have all the ingredients mixed together at once and mixed together the right way. And if you don't have that, then you don't get the bad stuff, unless, again, hope that's the case. So this is 3 o'clock, not too bad. And then 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, a little more dicey, 7 and 8, which is so if you remember that squall line model projection, that kind of goes in line where if we did have some spin up tornadoes, you would definitely see that. Now, if you go back in time to 1 o'clock, you can see out west, you do see some definite more tornado parameters out there. So that's why we think those cells might contain tornadoes on large scale. So quick little science lesson there at this lunch hour. So, hey, Paul, it's this PDS. Well, not technically right now. If people don't know, PDS is particularly dangerous situation. That's a terminology that the Storm Prediction Center uses when they issue a watch. I haven't checked it lately, but I'll check in just a second. There's no watches out right now. I know that, but I don't know if they're getting ready to issue one or not. But it might be, Paul. I'm not sure. That's actually a good question. I could definitely see it being that. Let's hope not, but I wouldn't be shocked based on all the stuff we have together. All right, so let's go back to the radar here before we wrap this up. And if you got comments, shoot them, and I'll answer them after I'm done too, of course. All right, so we'll wait for this radar to load here. And there we go. Okay, so the good news is most of the activity is northwest. That will be the case at least for the next hour. But what I would say, and I'll definitely be watching it, is if you remember, the HRRR model wants to form storms. I would call them individual storms right here. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock time frame. So that's what I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching within the next hour, 2 hours, are storms going to form that way or in that area? If they do, then that's going to have a direct impact potentially on potentially a direct impact on things like school dismissals, things like that. So that's just something that we're really keeping an eye on. I'm keeping an eye on, and we'll be watching it right now. All clear. That's not totally unexpected because it's kind of early in the event. But, after 1 o'clock, especially after 2 o'clock, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll be back giving updates as we need them. Unfortunately, I think we will need some, but that's just the way it goes. But let's just hope that we don't have a lot of individual storms, and then we have this line comes through. Don't want the line either, but, I'll take my chances with that as opposed to individual storms. Hey, Dak, I guess I need to put hell covers on the cars. Well, I don't think that's a bad idea. I believe in Murphy's Law, right? So if you go out there and do it, then it won't happen. So go ahead and do that. Anyway, see, I don't see anything else. Like I said, I will try to address any comments after I end the live stream. So here's what you can expect the rest of the afternoon. Like I said, so we're going to look for storm development possibly in southwest of Dallas-Fort Worth, Stephenville, Granbury type area, and points west, Weatherford, Mineral Wells, things like that. Those are the storm motion will be southwest to northeast. And so that is something so anything from the southwest is what you're going to want to be watching for, wherever you're located, whether you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, Tarrant, Denton County, Collin County. You can be looking for the southwest initially. And then when that line comes through, you're going to be looking at storms toward the west. So that is something that, we'll be watching. That's closer to the 6, 7, 8 o'clock time frame. All right. So I think that's it. That's all the comments I see. Again, wanted to give everybody just a quick weather update. If you're just joining us, this will be posted on my feed and Facebook. I'm going to also post this to my YouTube page, so you can go back and watch it. Again, there's in summary right now, there's nothing going on. That's a good thing. But we're just going to have to watch it between now and, of course, overall 10, 11 o'clock at night. But again, there's 2 windows to look out for. So it's probably starting after 1 o'clock, maybe closer to 2, that 1 to 2 to 4 to 5 time frame. And then when the line comes through, the 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., 9 p.m. time frame. So that's what we're going to be watching. That's going to be the kind of the hot spots. So the first opportunity, if you will, is not guaranteed. So that's actually a good thing, but we'll just have to watch it. Looking out my window, my office window here, got some breaks in the clouds. That's going to heat us up some. That is not going to help things, but that's just the way it is. So we just got to deal with that, and hopefully, we'll just hopefully it won't be as bad as they say. The last thing I'll say is a couple people have asked me about our capping inversion. We technically do have one over us, but that's just not going to last, unfortunately. So we're not going to have a cap to protect us this afternoon or in the evening. It's just not the scenario this time, unfortunately. So, Dak. Yeah, Murphy's Law does come. Sometimes Murphy's Law doesn't come in handy, but sometimes it does. So let's hope it comes in handy this time. Like I said, I'll be providing updates as we need them later in the afternoon, and probably as we get into the evening hours, just something that I'll be watching. And then you know what? At the end of the day, we're going to make it through everything. I think just statistically speaking, we will have some people in North Texas that will probably have to deal with things they don't want to have to deal with. But I'm hoping that's not the case from a widespread standpoint. And, we just get a lot of rain, wind, and stuff that we can actually deal with and not have to worry about. So let's hope that's the case. But I'll be watching it. But once watches are issued, definitely get an update on that. We'll have a better idea. Once storms actually form, if they form in this early window, then we'll have a much better idea of what to expect in the short term. But right now, all is calm. Probably won't last, but all is calm. Well, I'm watching the weather, so you don't have to. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. In a sad way, you'll probably have to join me later, but that's okay. We'll get you through everything, and we'll tell you what to do and how to avoid the bad stuff. And then we'll get through all this, and we'll do it all again at the next time we have a severe weather event, which will be many times this spring, I'm sure. But, we'll just get through the day. Thank you for watching. I appreciate everybody watching, and we will talk to you soon.